vihāri Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihāri Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihāri Give it a minute. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihāri Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Balachari Yamuna Tira Balachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Vihāri Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihāri Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava śarīrāṇi Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata śarīrāṇi Jaya Radha Shama Sundara Shama Sundar śarīrāṇi Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Jaya gṛhණāti, 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 Jaya gṛhණāti. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Very heavy Vedanga there. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishnu Bhutale Shivadi Gopal Krishna Vishwami Prabhupada Sahityam Yapakasham Patiraja Charangiravanshara Bhagat Pate Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Simate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamala Shri Gurung Vaisnavamscha Serupam Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanesvare Visabhano Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaisnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Continue reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Chapter 2, Contents of the Gita summarized, and text number 22. Vāsāṁsi jīrṇāni yathā vihāya. Vāsāṁsi jīrṇāni yathā vihāya. Navāni gṛhṇāti naro parāṇi. Navāni gṛhṇāti naro parāṇi. tathā śarīrāṇi vihāya jīrṇāni tathā śarīrāṇi vihāya jīrṇāni anyāni saṁyate navāni dehī anyāni saṁyāti navāni dehī vāsāṁsi jīrṇāni yathā vihāya navāni gṛhṇāti naro parāṇi tathā śarīrāṇi vihāya jīrṇāni anyāni saṁyāti navāni dehī
vāsāṁsi jīrṇāni yathā vihāya
vāsāṁsi jīrṇāni yathā vihāya
navāni gṛhṇāti naro parāṇi
parāṇi
tathā śarīrāṇi vihāya jīrṇāni anyāni saṁyāti navāni dehī
vāsāṁsi jīrṇāni yathā vihāya varnāni gṛhṇāti naro parāṇi śarīrāṇi vihāya jīrṇāni anyāni saṁyāti navāni dehī vāsāṁsi jīrṇāni yathā vihāya
navāni gṛhṇāti naro parāṇi tathā
śarīrāṇi vihāya jīrṇāni anyāni saṁyāti navāni dehī Mataji. Vāsāṁsi jīrṇāni yathā vihāya navāni gṛhṇāti naro parāṇi śarīrāṇi vihāya jīrṇāni anyāni saṁyāti navāni dehī. Word for word meaning: vāsāṁsi, garments; jīrṇāni, old and worn out; yathā, just as; vihāya, giving up; navāni, new garments; gṛhṇāti, does accept; naraḥ, a man; aparāṇi, others; tathā, in the same way; śarīrāṇi, bodies; vihāya, give up; jīrṇāni, old and useless; anyāni, different; saṁyāti, verily accepts; navāni, new sets; dehī, the embodied. Translation: as a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Everybody please repeat. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. Purport: change of body by the atomic individual soul is an accepted fact, Even the modern scientists who do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood, and from boyhood to youth, and again from youth to old age. From old age, the change is transferred to another body. This has already been explained in the previous verse, chapter 2, text 13. Transference of the atomic individual soul to another body is made possible by the grace of the supersoul. The supersoul fulfills the desire of the atomic soul, as one friend fulfills the desire of another. The Vedas, like the Mundaka Upanishad, as well as the Svetasvatar Upanishad, compare the soul and the supersoul to two friendly birds sitting on the same tree. One of the birds, the individual atomic soul, is eating the fruit of the tree, and the other bird, Krishna, is simply watching his friend. Of these two birds, although they are the same in quality, one is captivated by the fruits of the material tree, while the other is simply witnessing the activities of his friend. Krishna is the witnessing bird, and Arjuna is the eating bird. Although they are friends, one is still the master, and the other is a servant. Forgetfulness of this relationship by the atomic soul is the cause of one's changing his position from one tree to another, or from one body to another. The jiva soul is struggling very hard on the tree of the material body, but as soon as he agrees to accept the other bird as the supreme spiritual master, as Arjuna agreed to do by voluntarily surrender unto Krishna for instruction, the subordinate bird immediately becomes free from all lamentations. Both the Mundaka Upanishad, Canto 3, Chapter 1, Text 2, and Svetasvatar Upanishad, Chapter 4, Text 7, confirm this. Samani brikshe purusho nimagno nisayaso chati muya mana justam yada pashyati anyangisham ashyama himanang iti vitashoka. Quote, although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as the enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But if in some way or other he turns his face to his friend, the Lord, and knows his glories, at once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Unquote. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies in the righteous fight, so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. One who lays down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status of life. So there was no cause for Arjuna's lamentation. Srila Prabhupada K. vāsāṁsi jīrṇāni yathā vihāya navāni gṛhṇāti naro parāṇi tathā śarīrāṇi vihāya jīrṇāni anyāni saṁyāti navāni dehī. So the topic that's being discussed here by Lord Krishna to Arjuna is the changing of the body. At the time of death, we change our body. It's inevitable. It's like there's a saying, there are two things that are for sure. Tax and death. You have to pay tax. Otherwise, if you don't pay tax, government finds out, you go to jail. Everybody must pay tax, especially those who are earning, who does business or they have livelihood, they have to pay tax. You cannot avoid that. And also, one thing that we cannot avoid, as long as we have this material body, is death. Death is 100%. Even here in India, in America, in Europe, everywhere, 100% people die. No exemption here. So, this is another argument that has been defeated. Arjuna doesn't want to fight, doesn't want to kill his grandfather, Bhishma. He doesn't want to kill his teacher, Dronacharya. But inevitable, they are going to die anyway. They have to change their body. So might as well, if Arjuna killed both of them, or the others also on the opposing side, then they have a better life, next life. Just like if someone commits a murder, it's better he get penalized in this lifetime. Otherwise, heavy karma next life. It's better that he suffer the result of his activities or get the result, because it's suffering. Ultimately, it's suffering. Prabhupada says there is no enjoyment in this world. That enjoyment that we feel in this body is actually part of our suffering. It's not that one is enjoying for a few minutes, he is not suffering. He will suffer. So changing of the bodies is inevitable. And Arjuna's refusal to fight will not protect Bhishma and Drona. They're going to be, someone will kill them anyway, or they'll be killed, or they will die. So especially if it's on the battlefield, then it is honorable. Vāsāṁsi jīrṇāni yathā vihāya. So this body is like a garment. When we were young, our body is young, and then when we get old, we get wrinkles, gray hair, falling teeth, very, the knees are painful. Everything is like deteriorating. It's like if you have a brand new car, after some time, few 100,000 kilometers, it's starting to fall apart, except Rolls-Royce. No, Rolls-Royce will last for like so long, even 100 years. Depends on how you use it also. However, our body also will give up. We have a certain quota of breathing in and out of air. And after that, we reach that quota, we have to change our body. Now, again, it depends on our state of consciousness, what we are thinking of at the time of death, and all the activities accumulated for the whole lifetime. It'll depend on what we're going to be next life. We cannot choose. Of course, we can determine what we're going to be, but we cannot say, oh, I want to have a body like that will last for many, many years. Even Hiranyakashipu failed. He wanted to live eternal, right? But no, he cannot be. He has been also killed by Lord Nrsimhadev. So the change of body, this Prabhupada, I was hearing a class that was given by Srila Prabhupada in this specific sloka that the soul has a body, a spiritual body also. However, the body that we have right now is configured due to our previous karma. The soul has a form, but right now we are not able to see. It's minute, very atomic in size. Cannot see. It's 1/10,000 the tip of the hair. That is the size of the soul. And because we are embodied, that means the soul is within, and this body is tailor-made. Prabhupada says, like custom-made. Like if you go to an expert tailor, you want a very nice suit, maybe an Armani or something. No, they will measure everything, and after some days you come back, and when you put it on, it's like, hey, this fits like me. Fit to the perfect size, perfect, the length of the arm, everything, to the hips and everything, to the chest. So similarly, this body that we have right now is considered to be fitting exactly the way we are meant to have due to our previous activities. And therefore, at the time of death, when we are ready to go within the womb of a mother, they will have another body. Now, if somehow we become pure in our thoughts, in our consciousness, and all of our activities day by day, provides us the purification that we need, that at the time of death, we don't have to take another material form. We'll take a spiritual form. That means we have a spiritual form. And as Prabhupada says, it is like in a sleeping state. It is there. But somehow, we want to enjoy the material energy. When Prabhupada says in the class, the spirit soul cannot enjoy the material energy. Now, the material body can enjoy the material world, the material energy. And the material body cannot enjoy the spiritual energy. It's not possible. It's not compatible. It's like oil and water. It's always separate. You cannot mix them up. So what we're doing is day by day, it's just like we purifying ourselves by performing this Vaidhi sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti is of two types, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and then Raganuga bhakti. In the Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, we follow rules and regulations. By following rules and regulations, ultimately we are purifying our senses by engaging them in the service of the Lord, purifying our mind by hearing the Bhagavad Gita or other topics related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at the same time, we purify our very self. We purify our very self. Just a second here. We'll go back again. Hare Krishna. So, there is a point here where it says that even the modern scientists, they have their own opinion on the changing of the body. I remember this. There was a conversation or an exchange of letters when Srila Prabhupada was in Montreal. There is the Dr. Bigelow in the Toronto hospital. Because he's seen people died every day. being in the hospital, he had that experience that people leaving their body. And he concluded that when the person died, the body changed. There is a difference between a dead body and a live body. A dead body means the soul is not there. I had that experience also with my mother. When she was passing away, I was holding her. And I can sense there was a big change on her color. And the leaving of the body, the soul from the body is very, very dramatic, in such a way that I felt that something changed. So when we leave our body, we want to come back to this body. But it's just like those of us who are attached to this body, who is not attached to this body? Everybody is attached to this body. How many times we have to look in the mirror how we look like during the day? How many times? Well, I'm not saying, but you want to see how am I looking, but we are not that. So, it's a very nice analogy here. It's been put because some, they are attached to their old garments. It doesn't matter. It's really torn, and they don't want to give it up. They don't want to donate it to the Goodwill or, those charitable institution where you can donate your clothes, and then others will get the benefit of it. How many of us are like that? We have old garments or old shoes we cannot use, it cannot fit anymore, and we don't want to release it. We don't want to give it up. So it's the same thing. The soul is so attached to this body that at the time of death, the soul will want to come back. That's why it says that the soul hovers around to the body, who is already like, that's it, no more functioning. All the organs are completely shut. The heart is not beating anymore. There's no more life air. But the soul still wants to come, right? That's why in India, when a person died in the daytime by sunset, the body has to be burnt. Or when the person died in the evening, by sunrise or by midday, the body has to be burnt. So there's no more way of coming back. So, vāsāṁsi jīrṇāni yathā vihāya. Giving up the old and worn out garments and accepting new garments. Navāni gṛhṇāti naro parāṇi. We have to accept new body. The atomic individual soul is changing from one body to the next. The soul never changed. As we were talking from our last meeting, the mind, intelligence, and ego comes along or goes along with the soul until we purify the same mind, intelligence, and ego. Then birth after birth, the mind, intelligence, and ego will accompany the soul in different species of life. Even as a microbe. And everyone is like 100 years of lifespan. The microbes, some microbes, they will take birth at night. Then by sunrise, they're dead. That means they lived their 100 years of life. Or Lord Brahma also, yes, 100 years of life. compared to us 311 trillion years. So the modern scientists, they do not believe in the existence of the soul, but at the same time cannot explain the source of energy from the heart, and have to accept continuous changes of body which appear from childhood to boyhood, and from boyhood to youth, and from youth to old age. And then, old age means you're about to die. Once Prabhupada was asked, what do you mean by old age? Who is old? Prabhupada says, when you're about to die, that means you're old. It's like even a child took birth today and the child died after 3 days. That means the child, time-wise, only 3 days old, but actually is already old. Because before death comes first old age. Old age, then dwindling. You know, I remember my mother when I was in the Philippines, most of the times it's just like sleeping. That is dwindling. That means that's the sign. I had a friend also from Fiji. He was here. He was kind of old. I was talking with him, and while talking with him, he's just like asleep. He was falling asleep. I said, Prabhu, what's the matter? There's no explanation to this. They just like, kind of like about to go. And then when I went to the Philippines, after 1 month, I just heard the news. He left his body. So that is a symptom of the old age. And if you're like this, that's good. You're in Vrindavan. You're about to go back to Godhead. But we have to somehow understand this. It's simple philosophy, actually. The difference between the body and the soul. Prabhupada gave an example here in the Purport about the soul compared to a bird. And there's another bird on the tree. And that tree is the body. So within this body, the soul is there. And not just the soul, the atomic individual soul, but also the Paramatma, the super soul. But then again, there are many microbes, there are many germs inside our body. That means there are many souls inside our body. Yeah? Yeah, when you get cold, or you get a fever, that means you become infected by some virus. What is that virus? These are all living species. But ultimately, there is one main individual soul, atomic soul, that's us, Jiva, and then there is the Paramatma. Now, the Jiva are given this minute independence, like free will. This is the amazing nature of the Lord to give the individual soul minute independence, free will. They can choose whatever they wish to desire. And Krishna, as a super soul, is witnessing, and he is also hearing. He's also understanding what is this desire of the living entity. It's like Prabhupada gave an example. If I have a toothache, I have the pain. But you may see that I have a toothache and I'm in pain, but you're not feeling the pain. Krishna can tell everyone. It's like if you're happy, if you're in pain, you're suffering, sometimes you can hide. And you're the only one who knows. And if also the same with me. But Krishna knows everybody's mind. Krishna knows everyone. Because he's the Paramatma. It is not that he became divided. is still one, super soul, one who is supreme, who is the permitter. He is the one who sanctioned. If our desire is to enjoying the material energy, Prabhupada says, he will give a sign to say, oh, this is not good for you. But because we're so adamant, we're so, have a strong-willed, and Krishna says, okay, you do it, but don't hold me responsible for your action. Don't hold me responsible for your action. If something happens to you which is inauspicious, that is because of your choice. You cannot blame. We cannot blame anyone for anything that happened or will happen to us in the future. It is only us. It's like, have you seen some people, they say, yeah, because of you, I'm like this. I became like this because of you. I'm suffering because of you. You'll point fingers to everyone. But no, they don't have anything to do with our suffering. It is us. It's because of me that what I did in the past, that I'm now reaping the result. Now that person who we may think that the cause, no, they just became instrument for us to receive what we are meant to receive. It's like I was realizing the other day, the person who gave you the hardest part is your best friend. I said, how? He gave me a hard time. You know, it's like, it seems to be I'm suffering because of him. No, actually, he's your best friend because it makes your life lighter. He is not the cause of your suffering, of you having the hard time. He became the instrument. And sometimes those who gave you the hardest time, you became good friends with that person. That happens to you? Yes? Sometimes. And sometimes though, we don't understand this, and then we will curse that person. I'm not going to talk with this person for the rest of my life. Even amongst family members. Even amongst brothers and sisters. But no, this is karma. So, Krishna will provide everything. He is the provider of everything. He provides everything. Whatever we wish to do, whatever we want to have, if we want to have it and we qualify to have it, then we will get it. There is a saying in Filipino, I don't know how can I explain it in English. If it's not yours, you cannot have it. Yeah, if it doesn't belong to you, it doesn't matter what you do, you will not get it. So that's karma. And Krishna, as like the witness, it says here in the purport, is witnessing all the activities of his friend. He is a friend, Krishna is a friend because he's allowing us to do whatever we want to do. That's why he is our ever well-wisher. Everything that we do, he wishes for our own good. But if we wish something which is not favorable for us, it is still good for us. Why? Because we will learn from our mistakes. We will learn. There are few ways how you can learn: by hearing, by experience, and not following. You will learn also by not following, isn't it? You will learn from experience. Which is the best? You learn from hearing, from the right source. So we have to choose and know who is the right person to hear from. Especially in Vrindavan. There's so many nice speakers here, good speakers. But then there's a camouflage. You are not knowing that you are hearing Mayavad philosophy. You will not knowing that actually it'll be dangerous for my spiritual life. But Krishna, He always wishes us the best. Krishna will always think what is the best for us. He will not think what is bad for us. So that is real friend. Isn't it? A real friend, he always wishes the best for us, for our own welfare, for our own benefit. So Krishna is like that. He is the supreme spiritual master. And Arjuna now, he voluntarily surrendered unto Krishna for instructions. For the next few more verses, it talks about the soul. So now in this verse, it talks about the difference between a dead body and a live personality, whether there is, at the time of death, there is a change of body, change of garment. It says here. So Arjuna is advised herewith by the Lord not to lament for the bodily change of his body, bodily change of his old grandfather and his teacher. He should rather be happy to kill their bodies. How can you be happy killing? Mercilessly? Huh? No. In the righteous fight, so that they may be cleansed at once of all reactions from various bodily activities. We have to understand it in the higher level, understanding. That's why it says intelligence. Says it, let me see from the notes. How does this verse help Arjuna to overcome lamentation and material compassion? One who lays down his life on the sacrificial altar or in the proper battlefield is at once cleansed of bodily reactions and promoted to a higher status. So there is nothing to lament for Arjuna again, and his argument has been defeated in this verse about changing of the body. The soul goes to another body at the time of death, changing of clothes, giving up the old and useless ones. Okay, we stop here. You have any comments or questions? Yes.
In the few verses later, Krishna says in 2.27 that those who have taken birth, surely they will die.
Those who take birth, death is certain.
That is certain. And
Those who died,
the
birth is certain.
This is the statement from Krishna.
Yes.
When we leave the body and we go to, say, in Vrindavan, we said we go to Golok Dham. So going Golok Dham, it means there is no further birth.
Yeah.
So, but how these two match together?
This only pertains to the material form, to the material body. That when one dies, the material body dies. The soul never dies.
Yes.
It's always fresh, eternal, full of knowledge and bliss, but it's covered up by the material energy. So when we die, that means when we give up this body, we'll take birth again.
So
Now, Yeah, the soul will take another form. Now, that's either material or spiritual. If it is spiritual, then there's no more rebirth. Because you are in your eternal constitutional position, serving the Lord eternally in that form. It could be a plant, it could be a bird, in the spiritual sky. And if you take birth materially, that means in any of these 8,400,000 species of life. It could be in Swargalok, anywhere. So when you take birth in the spiritual world, no more death. If you take birth materially, death is certain again. In the material world, birth and death. Janma, mrityu, jara, vyadhi. Birth, death, old age, and disease. In the spiritual world, there is no Apollo hospital. there's no Mayabati, hospital there. Even in the heavenly planets, there is no hospital. When it says that when one time is up, that's it. You take birth again into going down into this earthly planet. That's what happens. So again, there is nothing to lament. There's nothing to lament if we give up this body because the soul is eternal. But the only thing is that we don't want to suffer again and again because of the nature, dukkhalayam asaspatam. As long as we are in this material world, as long as we have this material form, there is suffering. Devotees also gets affected, but not as much. Because I'm just giving my experience with my mother. I know she's about to die. So when she left her body, I was like trying to revive her. But I know that she's gone. She will not come back. So the effect, I get affected, but not as much. Because I knew that it will come to that point. Others, they get affected so much. Even some devotees, they get affected that they stop coming to the temple. They stop chanting. They stop associating with devotees. Because they cannot handle the stress, the situation. It's traumatic, actually. But because we have knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita, so if this happens to our family members, to our close friends and relatives and loved ones, we can bear. We can bear that moment. But we get affected also. But less. If you're not going to get affected, that means you have a heart of stone or whatever heart you have. But we can see. So it's my realization. It's like, this is all going to happen to us. And if we are fortunate enough that we are surrounded by devotees chanting the holy name of the Lord, then guaranteed we don't come back anymore in this material world. We'll go on to the last destination, onwards. Yes? Any other point? Hare Krishna? Speak louder though, okay?
Yes. Actually, by reading Gita, we will understand about soul.
By reading Gita, you'll understand about the soul.
So we know about soul and matter and super soul.
Yes.
We know all about this thing.
Okay.
At what point someone realizes?
At one point,
what point someone experience it, like experience the soul.
When you serve the Lord. Knowledge is not good enough. The application of knowledge, what we've read, what we've heard, what we discuss, is that when you serve the Lord and His devotees, then you experience the soul level. You will never get tired 24 hours. You will sleep less because you want to serve more. I'm finding it myself, sleeping less and lesser these days. You're like always awake, practically. Practically, the body may take rest, but you see, once the mind starts to work, that you're acknowledging that the mind is starting to thinking, that means you're awake already. It's only when you sleep and you don't know what's going on, that is you're sleeping. Your body and your mind is rest. Srila Prabhupada, how many hours does he sleep?
3 hours.
Huh? Hardly 3 hours. The Goswamis? No. Goswamis of Vrindavan. If you're in the mode of ignorance, you want to sleep. Yes, you want to sleep. That means that is not the soul level. Okay? You understand? If you just want, to serve the Lord, you're so attached to hearing and chanting, that means you're making advancement. That means you're making advancement. If you want always to help others make advancement in Krishna consciousness, you'll make more advancement if you want to help others to make advancement. Krishna will recognize you quickly. Okay?
Making the other people
Yes. Distribute books. Distribute the holy name. Distribute prasad. The secret is you want to be recognized immediately, as soon as possible. No, that's the whole thing. You don't want to, but you don't want to be recognized, but automatically you are being recognized by Krishna. Others may not recognize what you're doing, but Krishna recognizing you. That we have to cultivate. Yeah? Then you are on the soul platform. Anything else? That's it? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Go Shitana Premanande Hari Hari Bo.